The escalating hostilities in the Middle East demand urgent attention as the Houthi movement intensifies its attack on Israel. These actions have triggered a series of strong military responses from both Israel and the United States, with over 200 missiles launched and growing concerns over maritime security in the Red Sea. This conflict is not just a regional crisis, it's a flashpoint with global implications. Today we explore the driving factors, the broader geopolitical stakes, and the potential outcome of this volatile situation. Let's get in focus. As highlighted by the Washington Post in its detailed coverage, the U.S. has significantly ramped up strikes on Houthi targets in Yemen amid a complex backdrop of escalating tensions involving Israel. The report underscores how this situation intertwines regional geopolitical with ongoing humanitarian concerns, especially as international aid groups warn about the severe repercussions for Yemeni civilians. This multifaceted crisis demands a closer look at the strategies being employed by Israel, the US and their allies, and the broader implications for stability in the Middle East. And to help us understand the implications of these developments and Israel's ongoing aggression, we're joined by Dr. Ahmed Saeed Ahmed, an international relations expert. A very good day, sir, and it's a pleasure to have you with us on the show. Dr. Saeed, to begin, can you outline, please, the key factors motivating the Houthis to stand against Israel's aggression?
Greetings to you and your audiences. In fact, there are a number of factors and determinants that make the Houthis to struggle before the ISIS and Britain, as well as the Israeli airstrikes since more than 1 year. Firstly, is a geographic dimensions are about more than 2,000 kilometers between Israel and Yemen, and Israel has only one weapon confronting the Houthis, which is the air forces that will take a great much of time to hit its targets in Yemen. On the contrary, their fronts in Iraq and Syria and are close. Therefore, Israel has a great capabilities such as a land storming, tanks and aggression, and these aren't available in the Yemeni front. And the second factor, which is that the Houthis' objectives is little vis-a-vis Israel or USA, as targeting the missiles launches, and most of the Yemeni targets are mobile within the mountains. That is very hard to target in as they move. And the third factor, the Houthis are having a great amount of ballistic missiles in addition to their drones, which are the most important weapons of the Houthis against the Israel and against the British and the American ships in the Red Sea. And the fourth factor that the USA, since establishing the the guardians of prosperity in the Red Sea from the Houthis attacks. And I think the US side wants us to keep the Houthis threats and mind such a threat as the employed for strategic American objectives by using the threats of Houthis against the maritime to increase the U.S. presence in the Red Sea and built in an international ally under the pretext in confronting the Houthis. But USA did not confront the Houthis. And the fifth factor, that the absence of, or rather the continue of the Israeli aggression against Gaza, that will give a justification and a pretext for the Houthis to continue their attacks, whether against Israel or against the ships in the Red Sea.
Sir, Israel's response has involved extensive military aggression, targeting, of course, areas in Yemen. From your perspective, sir, how has this impacted the Houthis' ability to resist and respond?
I think that the Israeli airstrikes repeatedly against the Houthis naturally affected but never completely eradicate the capability. The airstrikes targeted Al Hodeidah and the Sana'a airport. Most of them are civilian targets and civilian facilities of airports and port seas. But the Houthis is or rather the Yemeni people are the one who've been affected, that they are suffer humanitarian crisis. Targeting the airports and the seaport would hinder the delivery of the international aids within Yemen, and this certainly affected the Yemeni people, but do not target the Houthis, as all American and Israeli targets is still in return launching the ballistic air missiles, and Iran has an great support for the Houthis, financing them militarily and financially, and providing with the supersonic and long-range missiles that reach Israel. And these missiles are smuggled from Iran to the Houthis and could be made within the Yemen with the assistance of the Iranian experts. Therefore, the Houthis had the ability to continue in launching the missiles, despite all the missiles were hit, did not effectively at large in Israel and can be falling in the air before entering the Israeli depths. Therefore, the war is open. Israel do not wish to launch the war itself and is trying to mobilize internationally and wish to let other countries to be engaged, which they are affected by the trade through the ships. And of course, this did not get a great response as America and Britain and some European countries, those they are hit houses with the assistance of Israel. But ultimately, at the end of this war will be lasting open, and America and Britain won't be able to eradicate the Houthis completely. And of course, this hit would undermine the capabilities of the Houthis, but not in the larger scale.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed Said Ahmed, for shedding light on the dynamics of this conflict and the broader implications of resisting Israeli aggression. We now shift to a controversial legal decision in the United States regarding the 9/11 suspects and its far-reaching implications. In a controversial move, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin recently annulled a plea deal with 3 9/11 suspects at Guantanamo Bay, reigniting debates over justice, accountability, and human rights. This decision raises critical questions about the legal process and its implications for the families of victims. Controversy surrounds the sudden reversal of a plea deal for the 9/11 plotters, with a headline in The Hill reading, "Kirby dodges over criticism of plea agreement for 9/11 plotters." White House spokesperson John Kirby defended the move, emphasizing it was Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin's decision, not President Biden's. The reversal has drawn backlash, with Republican Mike Rogers calling it a gut punch to victims' families. As emotions run high, questions remain about justice and the future of Guantanamo. To help us unpack these issues, we're joined by Majid Boudin, a Paris-based international law expert. A very good day, sir. And on the first day of 2025, we thank you for joining us in today's episode, sir. And to start, why did Secretary Austin reject the plea deal? And what does this signify about the administration's stance on justice for the 9/11 attacks, sir?
Well, the 9/11 attack is a terrorist attack qualified as such and admitted as such by the international community. So the consequences is to prosecute all the people involved in these attacks and to have justice done. The issue is that the U.S. has parked these people in another territory, which is not a U.S. territory, which is a territory under the control of the U.S., but it is in Cuba and the land of Cuba. And here, it's not under the normal U.S. jurisdiction process. And therefore, the prosecution did not continue, the proceedings did not continue in a normal way. And now it has been a long time. And some people are declared eligible to be freed from the Guantanamo without a judgment. And this is something which is abnormal. The U.S. has had this attack on their territory. They have their own people and other people attacked on their territory, and their citizens and different citizens from the world. The people taken in this attack and qualified as terrorists, they must have received a normal judicial process and received their punishment when it is required. Now, this is a fact now. The Obama administration, the Biden administration has declared that they will close down this Guantanamo
base.
Yes, but they did not do it, and they declared several times to do it.
Why didn't they do it, sir?
Well, they did not do it. It's a failure in taking decisions because they have to do it. And the point is that if they do it, they have to transfer these people, the terrorist people, these terrorists. They have to transfer them on the U.S. mainland and to have them. Receive the normal due process, and it doesn't mean that they will be freed. It means that they have to receive the normal due process. It's the honor of democracies.
Okay, sir, how does this decision affect the ongoing legal proceedings at the Guantanamo Bay, and what challenges might it pose for the military judicial system, sir?
The point is that the judiciary system did not take all the measures to make the justice, and and this is it's not a good thing for the judicial system in the U.S. Why? Because they have elements to prosecute these people. They did not do it, and they parked these people, and they gave an argument to the opponents of this of democracies and state of laws to say, look, when they don't want to apply these standards, they don't do it. They put them in Guantanamo. And from a legal point of view, it's a mistake. Why is it a mistake? Because it's a political mistake, it's a legal mistake. From a legal point of view, if you indict people, if you put charges on people, and if you tell that they have committed crimes, and they have done crimes in several countries, not only on the US and on 9/11, you have to prosecute them, obtain condemnations, and then put them in jail. But to park them in Guantanamo, all the human rights people, all the legal people, and the legal community, they said this is wrong to behave like that. You give a possibility for their supporters, the supporters of terrorism, to say that they don't treat them normally, and they just want to park them in a camp in Guantanamo in a human situation, and then you leave them for years and years. And the point is, some have a fear that if they take them on the U.S. territory, they will have to they can take advantage of the protection of freedom in the U.S.
Okay, sir, from the perspective of international human rights law, how can we perceive a detention facility like the Guantanamo Bay, in which reportedly grave violations were committed against detainees, sir?
The detention at this facility of Guantanamo Bay is, from a legal point of view, illegal. It could be legal if it was a provisional detention. It could be legal if it could be there for a special process to identify or to investigate. But when it takes so many years, so long time, so many years, then it goes against the international standards of a fair and equitable treatment. And this gives a leverage for the people supporting the terrorism in general, or they are against the state of law, and to say, look here, they are not respecting their own rules. I believe that this U.S. must now come back to normal and close down this facility, and take them in the U.S. territory, and have a full trial. Give them all the guarantees, because when you give them full guarantees, but they have committed crimes, they will be condemned, in fact. So there is no fear about that.
Okay, sir, one last question, please, sir. How do you assess the ongoings in light, of course, of the feeling of the victims' families, and who have expressed, of course, mixed reactions to this decision, sir?
Well, the idea which is now, the policy which is followed now, is to negotiate with their countries of origin and to take them back there. But even with that, the victims, they are now, they did not see justice done. They have seen people taken, they have without judgment, and now they will be delivered or remitted to their home countries. But victims are still starving for justice, and they are in need of justice, and justice was not done. And justice need not to be done, but need to be seen to be done. And now the victims, they did not see the justice has been done, and this is a problem. And this is why the state of law requires to see justice be done. And this is important for the victims and important for the legal system, for the international legal system, to protect the victims. We see this also on the other side. We can see it in Gaza. We can see it in south of Lebanon. We can see it in, and this is why we need to see the criminals taken to justice, and the justice give them the due process, and to have them condemned, so the victims are, at least they have this satisfaction that the justice was done and seen to have been done.
Thank you very much, Maged Boudain, for your insights on this pivotal legal issue. And of course, we hope everyone gets his rights back again. We now turn to the tragic New Year's incident in New Orleans, where celebrations were marred by a car ramming and shooting attack that left multiple casualties and heightened concerns about public safety. This event has reignited discussions on counterterrorism measures, gun regulation, and the importance of community resilience. As reported by Axios, the FBI is now investigating the tragic vehicle attack in New Orleans as an act of terrorism. This horrifying incident, which claimed at least 10 lives and injured 35 others, unfolded in the heart of the French Quarter on New Year's Day. The suspect, who drove a pickup truck with clear intent, according to the NOPD superintendent, tragically added to the chaos before succumbing during an encounter with police. Our thoughts are with the victims and their families as we await further updates from officials later today. And to explore this further, we are joined by Dr. Ashraf Singer, a world politics analyst at UMS. It's our utmost pleasure, sir, to have you with us, and Happy New Year. And unfortunately, we have this tragic incident that took place today on the first day of 2025. Dr. Singer, can you walk us through the key details of this tragic incident and its immediate aftermath, please?
So, it's not Happy New Year for the U.S. The early morning in New Orleans. This is a strategic accident where 10 people got killed, 30 people got injured. This is bad news, for American people. The situation now, it's between the mayor of New Orleans and the FBI. Act of terrorism versus a domestic violence. What I can see, it's the domestic violence. Mainly, I would investigate or discover more or read more from the news. Probably this guy, the white guy who got killed after he exchanged fire with the police. President Biden has been briefed by the White House staff. All the agencies in the United States are, and we're investigating about this guy and understand the reason or the motivation behind his act that he really made a disaster for Americans people. They are feeling very sad about what happened.
Sir, how have local and federal authorities responded to this attack, and what steps are being taken to ensure public safety at this point?
This is a good point. Unfortunately, America had that number of accidents before because of the your freedom or the freedom, to bear gun in the United States, matching with the U.S. The U.S. life, unfortunately. So the United States Congress should act to increase that level of measurement to prevent everybody to bear guns, and they have to investigate more carefully before to give his or her license. But without that kind of decisions, I'm sure we will see more accidents and bad events like that. It happened before in different states, but the United States Congress should act to put some restriction on bearing gun and
Sir,
act by that.
okay. Sir, does this attack bring back the debate over gun violence and firearms regulation to the forefront of American politics again?
Yeah, of course, it's coming back, but unfortunately, there is a kind of balance of interest. Like Rifle National Association, as a major association here in the United States, support the Americans bear guns and rifles as part of their freedom, and they are practicing their laws or their constitutions. But in terms of the number of Americans get killed of using guns and the number of casualties over time, from kids in schools to what happened this morning in New Orleans. It's a pretty tragic and really needs to act now. I'm not sure that that current administration or next administration, because next administration, of course, the Rifle National Association is backing Donald Trump in his campaign. So I have doubt that can really stop that kind of act of bearing guns. But I'm sure this guy probably he was motivated by some ideas, probably that gap between the Democratic Party and Republican Party about specific issues. It seems to me like this is a domestic violence, not actually an act of terrorism.
Probably Dr. Ashraf Singer, and investigations are going on. We're going to be, of course, updating all our viewers. And thank you very much, Dr. Ashraf Singer. That brings us to the end of this episode of In Focus. From the escalating tensions in the Middle East to the legal and security challenges in the United States, today's discussions have highlighted the complexities of our modern world. Thank you for joining us. Stay tuned for more updates on Qnews.